So you're someone that likes to do multiple things, likes to have multiple initiatives going, lots of balls juggled in the air, and sometimes you fall flat on your face because 3 or 4 of these balls hit the ground at the same time. How do you go about having multiple initiatives in the air and actually making them all work? Well, I got some bad news for you. It's really hard to do. Because when you have the inspiration and you're really gonna go for it, it's really important to sit back for a second and think about it. If you know that you have the motivation and the courage to start up, because you have in the past, then it's very important to think about when you're starting up something new, how to get it going properly and how to have a system that will allow you to maintain doing that thing. I remember when I was younger, I used to start clubs up and have social activities going on in the background, and another initiative that I'd hop on, maybe a non-profit organization that wants me to do something. And a lot of the time, I get really comfortable doing these 3 things and moving them forward and whatnot. But then about a month, I'll lose that motivation and kind of begin to falter in my progress of those things. So I realized over the years that it's really important to kind of settle on the things that you want to do and just keep pushing on those 1 or 2 things, and make sure that you're spending the appropriate time and energy to go and build those things up, because the wins that you get from those things are actually going to give you the motivation to start new things up later. The other thing is, when you start something up, you don't want it to fall afterwards, right? So how do you make sure that something stays up? You got to build it into your routine. You got to build some sort of system in place so that that thing can maintain when you're adding more to your work, when you're adding more to your plate. So you might be thinking, oh my goodness, man, I'm not that type of person. I'm not that type of person at all. I haven't started any initiatives. I haven't done any of these crazy things that you're talking about. I'm just not even on my ballpark, my wheel park. And to that I say, good. Know your place in society, right? If you're not someone that builds, if you're not someone that starts from scratch, but you are someone that enjoys building onto things, being a essential cog in a machine, then it's your role to go and try to find those people, maybe your friends or someone in your cohort that likes to go and do these kind of invigorating things, and ask them, hey, how can I help you, right? However, this is not to say that your help isn't necessary. This is not to say that your role is somehow secondary to what they're doing. No, it's just as important. And you're still required to build that into your routine to a certain amount. When you tell someone with your word, with a handshake, that I will help you, that I am going to make this move forward as much as I can, as long as you're in it, I'm in it. How much do those words count? Are you willing to be a cog in a machine that will disintegrate over time? Or do you want to be the cog that makes the machine function forever? Right? Those are things to think about. And the term exit strategy sometimes comes up when you look at business ventures or people talking about starting up initiatives, that you should have an exit strategy. That is part of strategizing. When you first start an initiative, when you first decide to add on to an initiative, you should have something in your head that says, okay, this is the amount of time vaguely that I want to spend daily, weekly on this type of thing. These are the things that I want to try to get out of it. And this is how eventually, at some point in my life, I will say I will step aside and let someone else potentially fill my role. These are very important things that a lot of people don't think about. I think it's very exciting and intriguing to get into something, to start something new. But what's really hard and takes a lot of conscious effort, and probably the advice of your mentors and other people you trust, is where is something going to go? Where is it going to end up? Where is it going to end? What is the end point? So, fine. You're starting initiatives, you're building, you're helping other people start initiatives. Okay, fine. If you're younger, if you're in high school, middle school, college, right, you have opportunities, plenty of opportunities in your system to create new things in an environment that's fairly safe, right? your capacity to build and to fail is always the largest when you've already paid the money to go and sit in an institution where there's people there to teach you, right? So what I would recommend, if you're in high school, if you're in college, if you're working in some sort of academic institution, go and use that time, that resource, to build stuff, build initiatives, write proposals, meet people, get into teams, start thinking about the things that are going to be necessary later on in your life if you decide to do these types of things, right? You are in practice now. That is what my practice management teacher told me. He said, listen, a lot of times people go to school or they're in temporary situations where they think to themselves, when I'm at this point in my life, then I'll be doing, when I finally get to, then no, forget about that. I'm sorry to say this might be a bit morbid, but you don't know if you're gonna be alive tomorrow, right? We don't know, we have no idea. And frankly speaking, if we're not training ourselves now to be what we wanna be, do you think that when we get to that point, we'll have the muscle, the internal memory, the mental reserve to go through with that thing? Not necessarily, right? It's a procrastination to a degree. Now, I used to confuse this concept with the idea of starting multiple things at once. You need to be very careful of doing that. I'm not saying that you should spread yourself so thin that you don't have the time to concentrate on certain things. It's very important to put down the time aside to concentrate on a specific thing, build it up over a series of months, perhaps a year, see where it goes and really just try to, refine the details and make it a little bit more efficient. Maybe something that will last a little bit longer when you're not there, something I've failed to do many times. But hey, failure makes us stronger, man. Woman, them, no problem. We're allowed to fail. Another major thing, I asked one of the administration at my school once, hey, how do you go about hiring new people? Like, what's your process for doing that? Because apparently, you got hired just for that, basically, to hire new people. And he said, I take my time, man. I take my time before I hire someone, because if you hire someone, you are stuck with them. You're stuck with them, for better or worse, right? And I heard from a motivational speaker to cut your losses, right? To when you see something coming up that's really gonna mess you up, cut and run. Do it. It's better than wallowing in your suffering, in your mistake, right? When you see your mistake, move. Keep moving. So these two things together, I tell you, because when it comes to a new initiative, you need people. You need people, man. Woman, them, you need them. I'm sorry to say. You're gonna do a lot of heavy lifting yourself. Sure. You better be prepared for that. However, the little things, the longevity of your initiative, your purpose, is going to require people. So you need to become, in some senses, a manager leader if you're going to start initiatives. If you're going to start a nonprofit or a business or something, you need to know how to manage personalities and their productivity, and to put people in the places that they would be most effective, including yourself. You need to know that. That's something to build up over time. But I tell you these two first things, of cutting your losses and of hiring people in the first place, and of requesting people's services in the first place, you need to know that however someone's going to treat you is directly correlated to how they treat other people. You want to know how someone's going to do in the position that you want to put them in? Observe them when they're just walking around. Observe them when they're talking to people. Observe them when they come to someone's house, right? Like what is the amount of humility that they have? Or if they're actually cleaning up after themselves. These types of things, they tell you a lot about a person's character, because they're so deeply ingrained in our subconscious that it's not something we can actively control all the time. So watch people, because love backwards is evil. Rock him. Another major thing for initiatives is when you're in them for a while, when you've built something out and you're persisting, you need new ideas. right? So people are part of getting new ideas, but also new experiences. You should be going to new places. You should be investing in yourself, because at the end of the day, if you're the head of something, then the amount that thing progresses is going to be dependent on how strong you are inside. So you need to constantly be investing in yourself if you want things to turn out right, and if you want to find out the more efficient ways to do the things that you want to do. How do you do that? Read books, travel, go to new places, watch different things, listen to podcasts, listen to new music, create things, right? You got a kid, go and take them to a arts fair, kids fair, go to a park, go talk, get out and do shit. Go do it. I promise you, when you get your mind off for a second of the things that you're trying to do, and you go and do something that you really enjoy or something that's new and novel, you'll come back with new ideas. And that's what you want. You want new ideas. A lot more on that later. But if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and maybe a comment on something that you might have found interesting or relevant to your life. I have a bunch of links in the description down below for my other social medias. My goal is to help people build their emotional intelligence and keep at pace with their expectations of their own life. Hopefully we can build a community here and help humanity move into the future in terms of our emotional intelligence. But anyway, take care. I will be starting up pseudo mentoring calls in the next month or so on Instagram Live. I would love to just talk to maybe one or two of you, maybe once a month for now, and see what you guys have in mind, what you've been struggling with, things that we could learn together potentially. I'd be curious. Let's connect. So take care. Have a beautiful day, and just think on it a little bit. In your idle hours, think on what you can do to improve your initiatives and yourself. Take care. Focus is very important. Focus is very important when you have multiple things kind of juggling. All right. And a lot of people, what I heard from someone wise on the internet, they said you need to spend about 90 minutes a week on your business. 90 minutes a week just thinking about how something is going to grow, how it's going to move forward, and how it's going to mature in terms of the people that it serves or the ends it's trying to accomplish. 90 minutes a week is super, super important. And I've been starting to do this a lot more recently. And I have a lot more lists going on. I have a lot more journal entries going on. I got some whiteboard action going on. I got people to hold me accountable. And the reality is, if I keep doing this, I know that if something comes and hits me sideways, or if I don't have the proper grounding, the footing, right, that this will be my safety net. It will be my safety net to go out of my way to put these thoughts down, to put it into people's heads, for them to ask me. That planning, 90 minutes a week on maybe this YouTube channel, or what I want to do in my career, or how I want to satisfy my relationships, right? Those are all kind of businesses, initiatives that you're kind of putting into place. So if you're someone that thinks that, hey, I'm not someone that starts stuff up, this and that, have you got into a relationship? Have you bought a new house? Have you bought a car? Are you trying to get healthy? These are all, this could all be put under a very similar plate of, hey, I'm trying to do something new. I'm trying to start something new that I want to be in my life for a long time, or at least as long as you intend it to be, right? The system that you put into place. Okay, cool. So, starting new initiatives, important. Society needs you. Society needs people that step up, that create new things for others to experience, new ways of contextualizing life, new ways of digesting what's going on in the world, right? We need that because we're always changing. We're always faced with different situations, different things that humanity has to adapt to, and we need you, right? So creating things is huge. You should be creating things all the time if you can.